Hello everyone and welcome back to Microsoft Dangerous Creatures. Today, really tough shots. Let's get started.
Got the itch to be a wildlife photographer? It's not for wimps. It requires a lot of patience, and sometimes it takes guts to put yourself into the situations you need for great pictures. Come along and I'll show you some of the tough shots to get. Click my button to get started. Now, here's a really hard picture to take. First of all, snow leopards live only in the high mountains of Asia, so you've got to be willing to scale the Himalayas. To make it even tougher, these cats are rarely seen. It may take you months or even years of tramping around through the snow before you can get a photo like this. Like snow leopards, tigers are confined to just a few spots on Earth, and to make it worse, poachers keep picking off the few that are left. Also, any wild animal with babies is fiercely protective, and the tiger is the most powerful cat alive. So you're taking your life in your hands to be this close, even with a zoom lens.
Yeah, especially if you're getting that close to a mother with a young.
Sometimes you think you're alone with the animals that you see through your camera lens, but surprise, there's another one sneaking up on you from behind. You can't ever forget that you're the intruder in their natural environment. Scientists worry that nobody will be able to take a photo like this ever again. These golden frogs used to get together every year in Costa Rica, but they haven't done it for many years now. As a matter of fact, frogs seem to be disappearing all over the world. This could mean that something is really wrong with our environment, and that's scarier than any creature you'll ever run into.
Yeah, this was released back in the 90s. I can hope there was some improvement in conservation efforts, and even today with people saying it's too late, no, it isn't. There's good change happening everywhere, you just gotta look for it.
Even if they weren't so hard to find in many places, it's always tough to take pictures of tropical tree frogs because they're, well, way up in the trees in tropical rainforests. So you've got to be willing to climb up there with them. That might not be so bad, but they're not the only critters up there. Imagine clinging to some skinny branch way up off the ground and running into this. It's a yellow eyelash viper from Central America. It's venomous, and it hunts through the rainforest canopy for tree frogs too.
Yeah, they had some at the Toronto Zoo. Not sure if they still do. I can't remember. After all, it was only last year. But yeah, they're surprisingly quite small.
Would you believe there's even more competition for those tree frogs? You might find something like this up there too. Some tarantulas spend all their lives in trees eating insects and frogs and lizards and picking defenseless baby birds out of nests. Fortunately, these spiders are not interested in photographers. But enough of trees. There are many other tough places to shoot too. Like underwater. If you're trying for great shark shots, you'd better be in a cage like this, or your dive buddies may recover only your camera. And even when you're in a cage, it's hard to keep your hands from shaking when you're looking down the throat of a great white shark.
Yeah, and apparently sharks test if anything is edible by biting, so definitely don't want something that big to bite you.
You'll wish you were in a plexiglass cage if you're ever this close to an Australian sea wasp. You won't find many good pictures of live sea wasps because nobody wants to get anywhere near them. Their nearly invisible tentacles can dangle many meters below their bodies, and those tentacles are packed with stinging cells. They are so deadly that your first run-in with an Australian sea wasp could also be your last. Here's another floating thing with long stinging tentacles that nobody wants to get close to. When I and my photographer friend see a Portuguese man-o-war floating on top of the water, we spend a lot of time arguing about who will approach it underwater and try to snap the photo. You go over there. No, it's your turn. And of course, by the time we've drawn straws, the tide has changed and it's conveniently floated away. If you've got the training and the equipment to do really deep water dives, you can attempt photos like this. There are a lot of fearsome-looking things down there where the sunlight doesn't reach.
Yeah, there, you see, got Tawny.
It may be the same planet, but the ocean depths are definitely a different world than the one above water. Glow-in-the-dark fish, things with giant heads. It's extremely weird and very interesting down there. It's so dark down here that fish can't see each other very well. So some of them make their own light, not to see by, but to attract smaller fish to eat. How'd you like to see these glow-in-the-dark jaws swimming towards you? It's a good thing these dragonfish are really small.
Yes, indeed.
But some giants live in the depths too, like this humongous whale shark. It's the biggest fish in the oceans, not to mention the biggest shark. But even though it's huge enough to swallow a dozen people in one gulp, it eats only plankton, although it might accidentally suck down a fish or two. Whale sharks are rarely seen, so if you can stay calm enough to get a great photo like this, it's worth a mint. This is the last stop on my photo tour. If you'd like to try your luck at finding interesting creatures on your own, click the Contents button below and be on your way. But there are 11 more guided tours besides this one. So if you want to go on another, click my button again to get back to the guide screen.
Yeah, thankfully you don't have to worry about round sharks or even basking sharks fighting you to see if you're edible. But anyway, yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you all next time. I'm Brian Croydragon signing out. Stay straight.